Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing great. Today, we're going to talk about the 5 important mistakes you should avoid in an assault situation. These aren't the only 5 mistakes, but they are the 5 that are really crucial. We're going to agree right from the start. We're not going to talk about a martial context or a sports context or combat sports, but rather a survival context. From physical assault to something extreme, so we're going to talk about survival. So, we are not talking about fair play, and we are mainly talking about methods accessible to everyone, without physical conditions. No warm-up, no practice with weapons, no need to be in peak shape or to have a monstrous bodybuilder physique. So I'm just going to stop there, everyone. Of course, this can also be utilized by people who practice with weapons. So why am I going to offer this little tutorial? By the way, I'm going to offer you a training where I'll give you all the key tools to help you get through it. And my goal is for you to have more confidence in yourself. Because what I receive in emails in various forms is this: yeah, the technique is good, but I just don't know what to do actually. You're absolutely right. Because in fact, self-defense isn't just about technique. So if I tell you that the best weapon is your brain, and yeah, everyone says, yeah, I practice this, my best move is the elbow strike, it's the kick, it's the groin kick. No, I'm saying the best weapon is your brain. Why? You'd think it's simple. In an assault, the key is your brain, determination, mindset, and physical condition. The result is your brain, your determination, your confidence in yourself, and your physical condition, a physical part. You see your brain, your mindset, your determination, and 30% of it will be the technical part. You see that it's lesser? What does mean is a raging madman, determined. Okay, who knows the street codes, who knows street fighting, will definitely have the upper hand. Will be a technician. There are techniques. He may be good in the gym, but he doesn't have the mindset and isn't used to it. Who doesn't know the street codes? So my goal is to help you. Here I give advice, then I offer you a training for detailed info. There's a training plan with a structured learning path. So my goal is to offer you a ready-to-go training. Alright? So that in just a few minutes you know how it works. So, the classic one is what we call experiencing tunnel vision. Discuss it often. It's simple, we're not going to overthink it. Sorry. It's actually narrowing the field of vision when we're under stress. Above 120 or 130 beats per minute, in a real aggression situation, we zoom in, we focus on a part of the body, the eyes or another part. The problem is you miss the environment. So, 1 year, it's 2 seconds. You might be the best champion, a great technician, training 4 hours a day. There are no champions who have the best techniques in the world, so we can get confused. The same MMA is better than Penchak, than Krav Maga. You get caught off guard, you can't defend. It's funny, we're talking about technique, I'm telling you need to observe. It's being vigilant. We're not discussing the codes of vigilance. It's long, but be vigilant, observe your surroundings. When I see people walking the street, their earbuds in, looking at their phones in tricky environments, or who are sitting in a compartment on the subway where they can't see what's happening behind them, well, no, you're completely wrong. A quick anecdote, a few years ago, I was on the subway. I didn't get on before the train, but I was on the subway, and I was with a young girl. There were guys colliding oddly. A little tipsy, wow, mind-blowing. Gonna get tense. He started causing ruckus. My urge was to grab the young girl. We got off. You say I'm a coward? No, it's about intelligence. I don't want to get into a fight. Took the young girl, she didn't understand, and we got out. There you go. That's it. I observe. So, in my training sessions, I offer techniques to avoid that tunnel effect. There are strategies that are related to everything I know about personal adoption, such as hypnosis breathing techniques. There are plenty of methods that help us avoid that. So why are we focused? It's because we're not used to managing stress. Once you know what's going to happen, you'll prepare yourself. Imagine you're in a cafe and you're being attacked. If you didn't see what was happening before, you'll experience that tunnel effect and you won't see the other guys coming at you from behind. Yes, that's it. And that's the work. I'm not going to expand, but there are some very advanced techniques, but easier. In 10 minutes, you'll get it. Now, we're going to talk about complex techniques. In fact, the best self-defense method for me is the one that has the fewest techniques possible. In fact, it's about being effective more quickly, with the fewest techniques possible. The same goes for blocks, the better. It's easy since your brain will have fewer solutions. It's pragmatic, which is why I often talk about this Pareto principle of 80-20. So you can be effective in 80% of cases with 20% of techniques. So don't overthink the techniques and whether the point should be like this or that. No, we need simple stuff. What we know is that self-defense researchers, people who are interested in it, and those in the field all agree. In fact, the research overlaps. Stress over 120 BPM hinders complex actions. Training is often forgotten. We can no longer perform complex movements like finger and arm locks. Training is often set aside in stress. At high heart rates, we only do gross movements. At 140, 150 beats per minute, it starts to ramp up a bit. We do gross moves as fine skills fade. At 180 BPM, we flee, freeze, or fight. So we won't be throwing big punches anymore. We'll grab, we'll grip, we'll take down, we'll sweep, and we'll throw kicks on the fly. And at 180 beats per minute, there are three scenarios. Either we flee, or we freeze up, which is complicated, or we fight. But we fight with slow motion movements. In rough movements, we see everything in slow motion. Fighters know this and often discuss it. So it needs to be worked on for a self-defense system to be simple and effective. The specifications are rough technique, simple and straightforward. A very limited number of techniques where we'll go straight, directly. Why? Because it's the shortest path. Impactful techniques, especially innate ones, where we activate the reptilian brain. Because in the street, you won't be able to think. You'll be in panic, in stress. So that's important. Same. In this training, I propose 4 techniques that are versatile techniques. Training, no gain. These are techniques, versatile techniques that you can use in 90% of situations. Almost 90% with 4 techniques. Here we are in the controversy. We often talk about the ground. You need to know that we fight on the ground. So it's very clear. Going to the ground in the street is dangerous. For several reasons, they're rarely alone. So you're on the ground, you're working, you're trying to apply joint locks while others are hitting you in the head. Secondly, the person you're going to the ground with can very well grab you, pull a knife out of their pocket, I made a video about that, and stab you. You won't see it. It's serious. Thirdly, you're on the ground, you can't escape. They say that the best technique is to run away. The guy who grabs you, it's complicated, especially if he's strong. You won't be able to escape. Then the significant problem is that when you're essentially on the ground, you're stuck, you're like a saw, you're static. That's important, so don't go ground. On the other hand, we would agree that doesn't mean you should go to ground. Once again, it's a matter of trust. Being afraid, that's not very serious. It's unknown. Someone who knows how to fight on the ground, who practices ground fighting, will know what it's like. He will know how to fall. He will know what it's like to be grabbed. So it's good. Do some groundwork. However, I urge you not to go to the ground. What you really need to avoid is a single strike. If I strike once, I pull back. So especially not, okay, we're in a real survival context. So what you need to do is strike bursts. That means hitting 3, 4, or even 5 times in a row in succession. In routine during a full check, we do this often. So why? It's very simple. It's because when you strike in bursts, you go from being a victim to being dominant. You are determined, you come across as a furious person like an animal. Throw yourself, strike. That's first. Then by striking in bursts, you will destabilize the attacker. In fact, he will be thrown off balance. He will have a hard time coming up with solutions since he will be distracted by taking hits. It's very unsettling to get cornered in a ring at the gym and take hits. We want to get out, except here, street. So he'll be in a panic. He'll run away. Worst case, you hurt him. So it's important to strike what we call a cycling in bursts. Now you need to strike in bursts, but intelligently. You need to hit targets. So targets are simple, not 50. I'll tell you quickly. There are the eyes. Once you see the files, it's complicated. There's the throat. The knees. Break the foundations. You can no longer hit. You can no longer run. And then the genitals, because that's where the nerve is. It's very disturbing. So these are the very easiest cycles in the street, unlike those in the gym. There's clothes, there's a different context, there's panic. I always repeat this, and I say it again in the training, which is exactly what I'm teaching, that the best technique, once again, the best method of self-defense, is the one where we can replicate situations in the street. So that means we take into account all the motor, intellectual, and emotional disturbances. It's important. If you don't take this into account, it's just a decoy. And what I want to offer you is the truth. Get closer to what will actually happen to you. This is not a show. This is not choreography. That's key. When we talk about bursts, it's also about moving, hitting in bursts while moving. And you'll see that it's very simple, that there are techniques. In the training, I talk about it. In fact, these are cycles that are practiced regularly, that are conditioned, but it's basic. It's very easy. You just have to know. So the mistake here, the main mistake to avoid especially, is not to put your hands in front. So, well, there's a particular news story that you must have indeed seen recently on television where Mr. Valls gets slapped. In fact, he is supposed to be secured by professionals. There are people whose job it is, who are trained for that. They know there is potentially a risk, so they are alert, they are on high alert, that's their job. Despite that, you saw the slap happen. Alright, why? Because the hands weren't raised. Indeed, you're not going to walk down the street. A bodyguard isn't going to put their hands in front. You're not going to walk around with your hands in front, but it clearly shows that if you have your hands down, your arms hanging, you take the hit. I've tested it for years, I've proven it in seminars with very quick people. I touch them. What does that mean? As soon as you find yourself in a situation of verbal aggression, you start to feel it escalating and you sense it could turn physical. Put your hands in front, so we don't just do anything, so definitely no guard. Don't take a guard because for two reasons. One, you won't be able to use surprise anymore since the other person knows you're going to get into a conflict. Two, you're no longer in the context of self-defense but in a confrontation. Think the legal framework. And thirdly, you look ridiculous. You think, I'm ridiculous, I'm going to fight and all, I take some kind of guard, it's just silly. Stay cool, put your hands in front. I might say, but with hands in front, there's a way. Indeed, I'll quickly give you the frameworks. There's what we call the peaceful guard. Peace, universal peace. I'm talking, I have my hands in front, I don't want any trouble, I'm not looking for a fight. You can block yourself while you're close to the target. The second one is the one who thinks, he's here, he's thinking, there, you can block yourself. There's one perplexed, there you can self-block, but the hands are in front. You're not here, that's not possible. And third one's troublemaker chatterbox. I want no trouble, and things can escalate from here. Still, having your hands in front will save you in most cases from nearly every possible situation. And what you need to know is that it gets in the way. It creates a sort of barrier between you and the attacker. It bothers him, and yes, psychologically and physically. I might make you laugh, but always consider the consequences. There are always consequences in an assault, in a fight. Physical consequences, psychological, emotional, and even legal. We always talk about this legal defense. If you put yourself on guard against witnesses, against cameras, you get into a fight, a confrontation. You can hardly say that you're a victim. If you put your hands up saying, back off, I don't want any trouble. Please, sir, stop, you're in the position of a victim. One could argue for having hit the person in front of you to defend yourself. Legal consequences key. So there you have roughly the 5 mistakes to avoid, especially. I find that you are much further along. You have a real method because that's what you want. I can see it clearly, it's huge. I can't respond to everyone. Sorry for that. But it's important. Here, I'm offering you training with the most effective and formidable techniques and how to apply them. And that regardless of your physique, regardless of your technical level, no need to do weapons in jump to be simple on me, to be strong. A woman, a man, even an older one can do it, since it does not require physical conditions and a high technical level. So what I ask of you is at least to be curious. Check it. Once again, you save a life. Life's not about tranquility, not about activity in the meadow. You can prepare for aggression. And as I always say, a fight requires preparation, and so does an attack. It's not today that you should say, if I had known, I might have looked into some techniques. It's not worth spending 6 years in a weapons training room again. Anyway, you don't have the time. I'm telling you, click below the video to access a training course, and it will answer your questions. Promise you, you'll have much more confidence in yourself. Once again, I see it with feedback from all the various training sessions I've done. See you soon. And again, thank you for listening to me. And then, good training, good work.
I hope you enjoyed this video, and I've decided to take it a step further. I've decided to train you, and I've developed a method that helps you train mentally, physically, and emotionally to manage your fear, because it's something that's very, very important. All you have to do is click on the link below the video, and you'll have direct access to my training. Now it's your turn to take action. All right, see you soon.